Hey guys, welcome back to our channel where God's Word comes alive. Today we're diving into the incredible life of Joseph, a man who went from the pits of despair to the peaks of power. Yeah, his story is one of those wild rides that makes you question how much betrayal can one person handle. In awe. So let's get started. But before we dive into the exciting adventures of Joseph, I want to take a moment to ask you to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content. By doing so, you'll be helping us spread God's Word and inspiring others to grow in their faith. Now let's jump right into the story of Joseph. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a man named Jacob. Now Jacob had a bunch of sons, and you know what? They were all pretty cool, except for one. You see, Jacob had a favorite, and I'm talking super favorite. And no, it wasn't because he was the strongest or the smartest. Nah, it was simply because he was the most handsome. Can you believe it? Jacob absolutely adored Joseph. And you know what? It wasn't just regular adoration. It was the kind of love that made him order a custom coat just for Joseph, a coat with all these vibrant colors like a rainbow threw up on it. Let me tell you, it was a sight to behold. Now, imagine the scene. All of Jacob's sons gathered together, probably thinking, "Dad, you rock." But then Jacob pulls out this flashy coat and drapes it around Joseph's shoulders. And his other sons are like, "Whoa, seriously?" And guess what? Their jealousy reached astronomical levels. These brothers, they couldn't stand it. They were green with envy. Meanwhile, Joseph, bless his heart, he had no clue about all the jealousy he was causing. He was busy having dreams, big dreams that left him scratching his head. One night he dreamed that his family, yes, his entire family, was bowing down to him, showing him respect. And wouldn't you know it, when he told his brothers about it, they weren't exactly thrilled. They're like, "Okay, buddy, thanks for rubbing it in." Talk about a dream crusher. And here's where things get really dramatic. A few days later, Joseph had another dream, and he was like, "Oh boy, here we go again." And in this dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing to him. Can you imagine the suspense? So Joseph shared this dream with his family, and they were just like, "Nope, nope, nope, we've had enough of this dreamer nonsense." And let me tell you, they were plotting something big, something that would change Joseph's life forever. They hatched a plan to get rid of Joseph, but they didn't want to kill him. No, they were too chicken to do that. Instead, they decided to sell him off to some passing traders. And I mean, come on, who does that to their own brother? But hey, it's all part of the story. They stripped Joseph of his fancy coat and tossed him into a nearby pit. The plan was to leave him there, to forget about him, and then figure out what to do next. But guess what? Nobody showed up to rescue him. Joseph was stuck in that pit all night, probably wondering if his dreams of becoming prime minister were just that, dreams. But you won't believe what happened next. Suddenly, who should stumble upon this scene but a group of traders heading towards Egypt? And you know what? It was like fate itself was conspiring against Joseph. These traders, they saw an opportunity to make some money, and without hesitation they pulled Joseph out of that pit and sold him to the highest bidder. Yes, Joseph was officially a slave. Now you might think that's the end of the story, but hold on to your seats because we're just getting started. Fast forward to Egypt, land of the pharaohs and pyramids, and we find ourselves in the house of a guy named Potiphar, an official in the pharaoh's court. And yes, he was the proud owner of a very fancy house. But more importantly, he had a wife, and let me tell you, she was trouble with a capital T. Picture this. Joseph working hard in this house, trying to be a good slave and all that jazz, and Potiphar noticing Joseph's diligence and deciding, "You know what, I like this guy." He promoted Joseph and put him in charge of everything, basically making him the boss man of the house. Can you believe it? Joseph went from a pit to a palace in a matter of seconds. But unfortunately, his luck ran out when Potiphar's wife laid some serious accusations on him. You see, she wanted Joseph, but he wasn't having it. And when she kept hitting on him and he kept rejecting her, well, let's just say she got a little creative with her storytelling skills. She told Potiphar that Joseph tried to force himself on her, and wouldn't you know it? He believed her. And the next thing you know, Joseph was thrown into prison. Talk about bad luck. But here's the thing. Despite being innocent, Joseph didn't complain. Instead, he used his time in prison to interpret the dreams of the people around him. And guess what? Every single dream he interpreted came true. That's right. He had a gift of interpreting dreams. Well, it just so happened that the royal baker and the royal cupbearer also had dreams that only Joseph could decipher. And let me tell you, their dreams were as mysterious as an Egyptian tomb. The baker's dream was all messed up. He saw his bread falling to the ground and getting eaten by wild animals. And Joseph was like, "Sorry, buddy, but that's a one-way ticket to an early grave." Then there was the cupbearer. His dream was a bit more promising. He saw a bunch of grapes and some vines springing up from his side. But Joseph was like, "Hold up, those are some thirsty vines and your cupbearer days are numbered." Sure enough, both dreams came true. The baker got the axe and the cupbearer became Joseph's BFF in prison. Fast forward a couple of years, and Pharaoh had a dream so big it would put Zeus to shame. He saw 7 fat cows followed by 7 skinny cows devouring the first batch. And then 7 healthy ears of grain followed by 7 withered ears that devoured the first crop. Needless to say, nobody in Pharaoh's court could solve this mystery. But the cupbearer remembered his homie Joseph, and he was like, "Yo, Pharaoh, you need to call this guy. He's got the dream decoding skills." And you won't believe it, but Joseph nailed Pharaoh's dream. He broke it down for him like it was his morning cereal. 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh was like, "Wait, what? Are you telling me I can have all this awesomeness and then face a total wipeout?" And Joseph was like, "Yep, sounds like it. And here's the kicker." Pharaoh couldn't wrap his head around the idea of saving his kingdom from a potential doom. And you know what? He needed someone special to tackle this challenge. Someone with brains, charm, and the ability to rock a flashy coat, and guess who fit the bill perfectly? Yep, none other than Joseph. That's right. Joseph went from prison to prime minister in the blink of an eye. He became the second in command, basically ruling Egypt alongside Pharaoh. Meanwhile, his brothers were still looking for work, unaware that they were bowing down to their very own brother. Can you believe it? Joseph orchestrated everything, ensuring that Egypt prospered during the 7 years of plenty and prepared for the famine that lay ahead. And you won't believe this, but he even saved his own family from starvation. Yep, you guessed it. His brothers showed up in Egypt seeking food, and they had no clue that they were standing in front of their big bro. Joseph, being the wise guy he was, didn't spill the beans right away. Instead, he tested them, checking if they had changed their ways and if they had any clue about the mess they created years ago. And let me tell you, it was quite a ride. Finally, when Joseph was sure they had learned their lesson, he revealed his true identity. And let me tell you, it was an emotional roller coaster. His brothers were filled with guilt and shame, but Joseph, being the forgiving brother he was, let them off the hook. He said, "Don't beat yourselves up, guys. We're all in this together." Now, isn't that a lesson in forgiveness? As the sun rose over Egypt, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Joseph embraced his family, tears of joy streaming down their faces. At that moment, all the pain, the betrayal, and the years of separation seemed to fade away. They were whole again. If you've made it this far, I know you're loving our stories. Don't forget to show your support. Your engagement means the world to us and inspires us to keep bringing these stories to life. Until next time, remember, God's plans are always unfolding, even when the path seems unclear. Stay tuned for more exciting adventures from the Bible.